with us today. And I'm super excited to have life coach Shaun D, the fearless VP. So can we give her a round of applause? She's going to help us unleash our fears. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning. Look, I got all of this dress to get up here on the stage. Okay, here I go. Good morning. Okay, y'all got to do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, much better, much better. I'm from a preacher background. My family is pastors and evangelists and all those good things. So we're used to standing on the stage, and when we say something out, we expect something back, okay? So let's try it. There you go. Call and response. That's what we call it. So good morning. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here today. I am coming all the way from Dallas, Texas, because I love what Shaun represents and what her organization represents. Fell in love with her when I met her in Dallas, and when this event came up, I texted her actually and said, "Do you need anything?" And she said, "Yeah, you." And I said, "Okay, I'm there." So here I am. And she asked me to speak about unleashing fear. Fear is something that I have embraced. I have taken it on as my personal mantra to be fearless, to do it afraid. Whatever that thing is that you desire and that you want in your life, that we have to do that thing afraid. Fear is going to be present. It is an ever-present emotion. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be with you in all things. It can be a fear of an object. It can be a fear of a thing, but fear is present. So we have to learn how to do it afraid and how to move with fear. If you define fear, and I have these note cards in my hand because I'm trying something a little bit different today, and I already feel that it's not going to work. So if you don't see any of these move, don't be alarmed. But fear, by definition, it's an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger. And that danger can be real or imagined. My psychology background tells me that when people fear a thing, they avoid it. They move away from it at all costs. But fear is also, it implies anxiety. It implies a lack of courage. You lose courage, you lose your courage when you're operating in fear. Now, as we move forward, I want you to think of three things when you think about fear. The perception of, real or imagined. It causes avoidance of whatever that thing is, and it causes you to lose courage. I want you to pause right there. Now, I do not at all find it a coincidence that I'm the first speaker of speakers that you're going to hear today. It is a roster of amazing women. You're going to hear, you're going to learn, and you're going to experience some things today that is going to move your life from one point to the next. But if fear is present, there's no way you're going to be open to receive. So the reason that I'm the first speaker today is because I got to get your mind right. I got to get you in the right place so that you're open, so that those walls start coming down, so that those walls are demolished by the time I step off the stage, or almost there by the time I step off the stage, so you can receive and be open to hear what these amazing women have to say to you today. So I don't take it by coincidence that I'm the first speaker. I think that it's a setup for you. How about that? Fear will definitely build walls in your mind. Walls that you hide behind and you say, that won't work for me. I can't do that. I'm not as eloquent as she is. I can't stand up somewhere and talk. Fear will make you believe that you can't do the very thing that you're supposed to be doing. So you avoid it. Remember, we talked about fear makes you avoid things. So you avoid it because behind the wall of fear, it says, I can't do that. So I'm just going to sit quietly over here in my little area, and I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to say anything about it because I can't do it like she does it. Let me tell you something today. There is room at the table and there is room in the world for every woman's dream, every woman's purpose, every woman's call, and every woman's goal. And that's a good place to clap right there. I told y'all I'm from a church background. So every now and then I need to know that you're still with me. There's room for all of us at the table. But we have to demolish fear, which is what stops you from moving forward. Those things are your purpose, your call, your passion, your way out of situations. It's your ticket out of where you are right now. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but I'm sure there are some situations that you want changed in your life. Some situations that you want to be different in your life. But when you think about how do I do that? How do I move? Fear tells you, you can't do that. And what do? You sit back down in the moment and you say, you right, I can't. I'm going to just sit right here. I'm going to just stay right here. Is some of the walls starting to come down? Yeah. Just nod your head. Okay, there you go. It's your ticket out of some situations that you're hiding behind the wall, avoidance. And you've hidden there for so long that you no longer even have the courage to move. I told you I'm here today to demolish those walls that you are hiding behind so that you can position yourself to begin to do it afraid. And here's my church background one more time. Let me hear you say, do it afraid. Do it afraid. There you go. I came to unleash your mind today. And when something is unleashed, it happens. It's a powerful force that happens suddenly. When you think about something being released, unleashed, it happens quickly, forcibly, powerfully, suddenly. I'm your suddenly today. I'm here to give you a quick lesson in how to do it afraid. If you follow me on social media, and I hope that you do after today, Chandra Deneen, our life coach Shaun D, or my social media handles, Fearless VP on Instagram. But you will find Do It Afraid hashtag attached to most of my posts. And back in 2014, I adopted the mantra Do It Afraid because I was in some positions in my life where it was time for me to make some moves that were very fearful. I was afraid. I'd never done it before. I didn't have anyone around me that had done it before. I didn't have anyone to look at to tell me, okay, go straight, turn left, turn right, stay right there for a few minutes, and then proceed. So I was coming into some things that caused me to be very fearful, but there were some things that had to happen. So back in 2014, I developed a mantra, Do It Afraid. And that simply means that you are acknowledging the perceived fear. So I acknowledged it. You bring it into your consciousness, the thing that you avoid, so that you can gather courage around it and you can do it anyway. That was really good, and because I threw my card on the floor, I don't even know what I just said again. But when you're doing it afraid, you bring into consciousness that thing that you are avoiding, and you build courage around that so that you can do it anyway. Right. You bring into consciousness that thing that you are avoiding so that you can build courage around it and do it anyway. So there were some things in my life that I was trying to move forward in, and fear was right there telling me, you can't do that. You're not going to be successful. Sit down. Why are you doing that? Why are you thinking you can do that? But guess what I did? I did it afraid and I moved anyway. It is in that space. You can clap right there. I'll take the clap right there. It is in that space that I say I began to become fearless. And I began to develop courage around the things that I was most fearful of. So you might ask yourself, how did you do that? I'm not a speaker that just comes to give you information to tickle you, but I want you to leave with some principles, some things that you can begin to do in your own life that will put you in a position to also become fearless. So I'm going to give you 3 keys. And when I give you these 3 keys, I want you to know that this is a lifestyle. Do It Afraid is a lifestyle. It's not a one-time fix. It's not a one-hit wonder. It is something that you have to consistently do day in and day out. It becomes a habit. Do It Afraid becomes a lifestyle and a habit, so that when you are up against an obstacle that you feel fear rising, you lean back on that and you acknowledge, okay, I see you thing. I'm bringing that into consciousness. I see you, you see me seeing you see you. But guess what? I'm gonna do it anyway. So you either come along with me or you sit over here and you be quiet. But because fear is an emotion that doesn't go away, it goes with us. But we have to learn how to proceed and how to have your life in motion in a forward movement that even in your most fearing moment, you have the courage to do it afraid. Think about it this way. Doing it afraid puts you in it's a posture of pursuit. So how many moms do I have in the room? Okay, most of the room is moms. When your kid comes to you and they tell you that they want something, and there's something that they're deserving of, what do we start to do? What does our mind start to do? Figure out how to do it. Somebody over here said, our mind starts to figure out, how am I gonna get them that thing? My boys are 21 and 28. And if they call me today and they said, Ma, I need XYZ, I'm like, okay, all right. That's what you need. All right. When do you need it? Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Is this something that I can do on my own? Is this going to have to be a family project? Am I going to have to call Nana and aunties and get everybody else involved? But whatever it is, do I need to take a part-time job? What am I going to have to do? But whatever it is, we start to position ourselves in a way to pursue whatever it is our child is asking us for, right? Your dreams and your goals deserve the same posture of pursuit. Your dreams and your goals deserve that same posture of pursuit. Now, when your kid calls you, if anything pops up that makes you believe that you can't deliver that thing, what do? We figure it out. We got to do the same thing. When fear pops up with your dreams and your goals, when you're sitting there and you're thinking, I want to open that boutique. I want to launch this brand. We're going to talk about careers and brands and those things later. You're in this room today because it was divinely orchestrated for you to be here. Right. So there's something that's going to be said today that is going to launch you into the next part of your life, of your dreams and your goals. I believe that. I would not have come all the way from Dallas if I didn't. But listen, you have got to position yourself in a posture of pursuit. So as each speaker stands before you today, your mind should be positioned in a posture of pursuit. And how am I going to do that? And fear is going to sit right here next to you. And fear is going to say, you can't do that. You don't have the money to do that. You don't have the time to do that. But let me tell you what happens when you commit to the lifestyle of do it afraid. Y'all ready? When you commit to the lifestyle of do it afraid, you get everything you need. Is brought into your, oh my goodness, everything you need is brought into the reality of this moment. Let me tell you how I know that. It was probably some 22 years ago that I was frustrated with life. I had my first son when I was 15. I was married by the time I was 19. I was 22 by the time I had my second son. At 25, I was a mom of two, a wife, an employee, a friend. I was a whole bunch of stuff. How many of you can attest to that right now? We a whole bunch of stuff for everybody else, but we have no idea who we are to us. I did not know who I was to myself. I did the things that my parents wanted me to do. I went to college. I found a good boy, a good man. He asked me if I'd marry him. I said, only if you get me out of Beaumont. And he said, yes, we can live in Houston. So I was like, okay, I'll marry you. That's really how that happened. So we got married. So I'd gone to college. I got married. Then he decided he wanted a kid and I didn't. He talked me into it. So I said, okay, I'll do that one time. You getting fixed after this? Because I ain't doing it again. We had that one child. I went on to work, had a good job, not a career, a good job, because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. But yet on the inside, I was dead. Dead. So one day I left work going to a Bible study. I was in a position of seeking. What am I supposed to do? Why am I here? There has to be more to life than what I'm doing right now. So I went to a Bible study. It was at lunchtime at the Bible study. And I thought, if these women are coming together for a Bible study at lunch, they must be just like me. A mom, kids, busy, work. And this is the only time of the day that they can have to themselves. So they go to a Bible study at lunch. So I took out to Bible study at lunch. When I left, I was so disappointed. I was like, that was a hot mess. And I did not get what I went there looking for. In fact, I am more discouraged than encouraged. So I remember sitting at a traffic light and I said, God, you got to tell me what my purpose is in life. It was that moment of pleading almost. I know we've all been there where you have a moment where you are just, God, if you don't tell me something, I just don't know what I'm going to do next. And it was in that moment where I heard it so clearly, just as clear as I'm speaking to you today. You are to inspire, encourage, and motivate others through the word that you speak, through the word that you write, and through the life that you live. Just as clear as I'm talking to you today. It was like God was sitting in the car next to me. It was the answer to my question. You're asking God some questions, and he's giving you the answer. And you're asking yourself, is that you or is that me speaking to me? When you hear that soft, quiet, loud voice, it's him answering your question. One thing that my dad always taught me was to write it down. When that small voice speaks to you, you find the closest thing possible and you write down what you heard and you put a date on it. Because that voice that speaks to you is not obligated to repeat itself. It is not obligated to give you the answer to the question that you've been asking. But you have to be open enough to hear it. So I heard it. And then I said after that, I said, so how am I supposed to do that? I don't have anything to say to anybody. My life sucks. I don't want it. So I know nobody else do. That's what I thought. Nobody else wants this. And what am I writing? I don't even have anything to write. So again, that voice so clearly said, create your own. At that time, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what that whole revelation of conversation meant. But what I do remember is an immediate fear setting in that said, now you know what you're supposed to do and you don't even know how to do it. Right. Now you know what you're supposed to do, but you don't even know how to do it. So I immediately became fearful in the purpose that was just given to me. How many of us do that? We ask for an answer, we get the answer, and then we immediately talk ourselves out of the answer that we just got. That's what fear is. But when you develop a lifestyle of do it afraid, you move even with that fear present. Now, it took me about 20 years and another position where I was in, and I asked the question again, what is life? Because it has to be more than this. When I asked it that time, I was a divorcee. My kids were grown and gone. I launched into a new area of my career, but I was still in a position where I was dead on the inside. I still had not found it. And the voice did not come back to me and remind me of that. But what the voice now did is say, you figure it out. You have the power within you to figure out every answer, every solution to everything in your life. That's what the voice told me that time. You have to discover the power within. So from that, I started peeling back the layers of the onion, because now I'm committed to a life of doing it afraid. This is what happens when you commit to doing it afraid. Everything that you need to do the thing that you are most fearful of shows up. So I decided I'm a speaker. I know I am. I know this is what I was supposed to do. And my mom would tell me, this is what you've done all of your life. So I got a coach. I found somebody that could guide me along the way. When you take the first step and make the first move, everything that you need will show up in your life. But you have to commit to moving with fear present and doing it afraid. So I stand here on this stage today, as Shaun told you, a speaker, where every opportunity that I've had to stand on a stage came because I do it afraid and because I start. I got all the way here up until this morning at 7 o'clock, fearful of this very moment, because words had not hit my head yet of what I was going to say when I stood up here on this stage. But what I'm telling you today is, if you take nothing else away from this, commit to yourself and commit to a lifestyle that demolishes the walls of fear so that you can move forward and do it afraid. I am fearless. I am bold and I am courageous, and I stand on this stage today because I choose to do it afraid. Life Coach Shaun D, thank you very much.